Hello, Black, Brown, and HBCU Bound family. My name is Yvonne Daniels, and I'm your host of this podcast, the Black, Brown, and HBCU Bound podcast. Also, the administrator and founder or creator of the Black, Brown, and HBCU Bound Facebook book, where a lot of our information is shared back and forth, and that is a lot of the times where we get the inspiration for the podcast episodes that we produce. Today, we're going to talk about scholarships, and if you think we're always talking about scholarships, just know that was the underlying mission of this whole Black, Brown, and HBCU bound experience, because it is our goal and our mission to bring information to students who have to pay for school so that they can offset the price that they have to come out of their pocket with, and we want to minimize the amount of money that students have to borrow or parents feel they need to borrow with Parent Plus loans in order to get their kids through and through college. Don't want you to think that this is just another conversation about scholarships, because it's always going to be about how we can get costs down in terms of out-of-pocket expenses when it comes to getting your kids to school. Today we are going to talk about and explore the fact that a lot of HBCUs are in jeopardy of losing governmental funding. And because that is a fact, and some are experiencing cuts now, but because that is a fact, a lot of the schools are preparing for a future without government funding. That is what made me think to come and talk to some of you in terms of funding in general. A lot of times, parents and students are not awakened to this dark fact that you will not be funded to the extent that you'd like to be, and they don't discover that until they reach the middle point or the 3/4 of the way through senior year, when they're awarded, with the financial aid award letters are distributed, and that's when a lot of feelings are hurt, because they think that your high scores and all the other positive attributes you have are going to be tied to so much money. That's the time, 12th grade, the middle of 12th grade, toward the time when it's time to make commitments to these schools, make decisions on whether or not you're going to be attending. This is when you're hit with the harsh reality that you should have some money in your back pocket. And oftentimes we don't. I'm no different than anyone else. The money for college is usually not there unless you're in a really special circumstance. I want to talk to students who are rising seniors now, 11th grade students. The students who are now seniors going into college, rising college seniors, they are now in the thick of things. Parents are trying to get payment plans out there. And if you are let me give you something to think about. If you are a parent right now thinking about opening up a payment plan, brace yourself. You're going to need a large down payment, because the later you wait to enroll or open a payment plan, the more money they're going to want up front before they can even establish the breakdown of how much you can pay. This is not an easy accomplishment, especially if you're working from a position where so many are, where the money's just not there. They're just trying to find any avenue of things that you can do in terms of getting these monies. I get it. There's a lot of probably desperation at this point. A lot of parents who may not even be eligible for parent loans. A lot of students who just don't have a way to get this money. What I can tell you is there are still some scholarships out there. Continue to look for them. Go to your guidance counselors. Go to your community-based organizations. Go to the local sororities and fraternities. Do not give up. It's not the end. I know there are some scholarships out there they go up until July. Then they're really good ones. My son and my daughter were able to, I think, apply for, the Deltas had a scholarship that wasn't due until sometime in June or maybe even July. And I think they awarded my son $3,200. So I don't want you to, but that was for a local one. But please don't give up. You can't give up until the last day to pay. And even still, you don't give up, because I tell people scholarship season doesn't stop until you walk across the stage with your degree in hand. But going back to the rising seniors, the students who will be seniors in high school in the fall. There are some things that you can do right now to position yourself for scholarship success. What I'm going to encourage you to do is, these last couple of days that you're still in school, start asking your teachers for letters of recommendations. Ask them for them now, because teachers sometimes drag their feet. They're busy. A lot of students are doing this as well, and they don't have a lot of time. You want to ask every teacher who has a favorable opinion of you from the 9th grade until now, until today. Ask everyone who's willing to give you a letter of recommendation, ask them for one. And the reason I say that is because when school's not in session this summer, there are some scholarships that will open up in August, right? So you want to be ready. You want to have these things on hand. You want to ask the people who you've done community service with, you want to ask them for letters of recommendations. if you've done any type of volunteerism, you can think back to the things that you've done over the course of your high school career and see if you can't go back to them and ask them for a letter of recommendation if you haven't. And even if they did give you a letter of recommendation back then, ask them if they wouldn't mind updating it, because some scholarships will say that they want the letters to be current. You want to have all these things on hand so that you are not hindered by the fact that you don't have one of the components of what's needed for an essay, and you can't get it because school's not in session, so the teachers are not going to write you a letter of recommendation. You want to get these things now. These are some last minute tips that you can do to save yourself so that you'll be ready to start the scholarship application process the minute you step foot in school in the fall, in September or August. And even before you go to school, even if you're not in school until September or late August, some of the scholarships open, like the Horatio Knight years, I think that opens in August. And there are a few others that open in August or maybe even earlier, so you'd have to do your research on those. Take this time this summer. If you don't have any volunteer efforts to speak of, you still have rising seniors out there. And even people who are in college, you want to get your community service hours in, because you will still be applying for scholarship. I'm talking to scholarship. I'm talking to current college students right now. You still want to find a way, although you may find yourself working this summer, you still want to be involving yourselves in some type of community service, because you are still going to be applying for scholarships. And organizations usually like to award money to students who have time, make an effort to give of themselves outside of what's required in school, or what's required of them, or what's being done for a paycheck, or some type of benefit to them. You want to be able to show that you, aside from everything you have to do to keep your great grades, to keep your social life up, to keep your work life up, because everyone knows you probably have to work to be able to get by, but they still want to know that you've made time to help somebody who may be less fortunate than you are, or you've done something to contribute to making the world a better place. So you guys want to use this summer to be able to try to get in some level of community service, right? And remember, when you do this community service, you want to get somebody who can verify that you've done it. You want them to be able to state the amount of hours that you spent doing it, maybe a little bit about what it is that you've done for this type of community service, and what their overall thoughts of you were as you were accumulating these community service hours. And you'll need those letters of recommendations, because a lot of times scholarship applications will ask you for one academic scholarship, one academic letter of recommendation, and one that shows your commitment to community service. So you're going to need letters from both. So the ones you want to work on now are your teacher or professor letters of recommendations, and also some community-based or community service letters of recommendations. Keep that in mind. You got a whole summer to work on this. You're going to need them. Not only that, it doesn't hurt to do some good. You're going to have a few extra hours over the summer. Let's put our heads together and get some work done and help some people who may be less fortunate than you are. What else I would encourage, especially my rising seniors, to do would be to work on your essays. And I say that because when you get back in school, as I mentioned, scholarship season will be at your doorstep, and you don't want to spend a whole lot of time developing or creating or starting to create an essay when you had the whole summer to do it. Because remember, I say this all the time, when you apply to these great institutions and you've got, I've got this great GPA, when you apply and they accept you, that is a conditional acceptance. If at the end of the year, GPA that you flaunted in the beginning, when you were able to meet the eligibility requirements for whatever institution you're applying to, they are going to ask you again for a final transcript. So you cannot go and act a fool for your senior year thinking, I got this, I'm on easy street. You apply with this GPA, at the end of the year, they're going to ask you for another copy of your transcript, and that GPA should be the same, if not better. Do not think, I know so many people who do the senior slide, and they can rescind their conditional offer for you to have a spot in their school. So keep that in mind. And I say all that to say, you want to do as little as possible outside of what you need to do as a senior. There'll be a lot of things happening, a lot of activities for seniors, closing out their high school career, and everybody gets that. But at the same time, you're going to be expected to do some work, and that includes finding ways to pay for school. Hopefully that's a family affair. You guys have some adults in your corner that can help you, because it's not an easy process. But at the same time, there's some work that you'll have to put in too. You can't stop volunteering. Whatever grades you might have to make up, whatever courses you might have to you take that you couldn't take previous this year's. You have to fulfill all the requirements that are needed to get through high school, but there's still some other things that you need to do as a responsible young adult looking to start their lives off in a college type setting. And that includes continued community service. That includes keeping your grades up. That includes looking for scholarships and grants, right? Understand the money will not be there. If you do not have the money to write a check out of your checking account right now, and you can't foresee having that money in your checking account or your parents' checking account to write that check out at the end of your senior year next year, I don't know how many paper routes you can do, since there are no more paper routes, I don't think. I don't know what you can do to get this money, but I know one thing: scholarships are real and they're out there. What you need to do is be applying. For any of you who need help applying, my daughter, who graduated from Howard, who paid not a dime, she got so much in scholarships, she got double what they were asking. Those refund checks were coming in. I kid you not. She's at Columbia University right now, paying not a dime. Her education is completely funded through the same people who sponsored her through her undergrad are the same people who are paying for Columbia University while she's pursuing her master's. If you guys are in a position where you need assistance or guidance, she does have a for-profit company where she helps people who want to be able to competently apply for college scholarships. There is a way to apply for scholarships. It's not haphazard. There is a structured way to do it. There's a structured way to write your essay. There's a structured way there's so much involved in applying for scholarships that people don't know. You really don't want to wing it. You want to get in there, know what you're doing. And she has a system that she calls the Scholarship Strategy Workshop, that she teaches students how to submit a scholarship application from the beginning to the end in less than 15 minutes. So if any of you are interested in that, you can, there's a way. I should have had that. I didn't know I was going to say that. This is being off the cuff. There's a way. The telephone number you can reach her at is 718-480-6677. If it is not the right answer, I didn't plan to say this. If that is not the right number, hit us up in the comments. I can make sure you get a link to be able to make an appointment. And here's the thing. She can do this in one session where you sit with about 45 minutes, half hour, 45 minutes. You'll have all the tools. You know exactly how to structure your applications. You know exactly what to say in your essays. You know exactly how to prepare yourself and conduct yourself in an interview. All of these things can be done in as little as half hour to 45 minutes. You just need a roadmap. It is not a haphazard thing. You have to know what you're doing, and you too can have success in applying for scholarships. The time is now. You have to prepare yourself. Even if you don't go with her, you need to start preparing yourself right now. This summer is the time. You need to do all of the things that we talked about in the beginning of this video, and make sure that you do them and you're ready to walk into school in the fall applying for every scholarship where you meet the eligibility. You should be applying for scholarships constantly. And the reason I say that is because it will not be a distraction if you know what you're doing, you're prepared. If you're prepared and you have everything on hand and you know exactly what to do, you can have tweakable essays, which she can talk to you about if you are one of the people who are interested in booking with her. And I think it's like maybe for the summer, she's doing something where it may be like $39. You'll have all the tools and you'll have a roadmap and a direction on how you can attack scholarship season and be successful at it. You guys need to get on the ball. Look through the Facebook group. If you're not a member, look through Black, Brown, and HBCU Bound. Scroll back, scroll. You will see all of the parents who found themselves at this point thinking, oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to be able to pay this tuition. They had no idea. A lot of you are first-gen students. If you are first-gen students, then that means your parents are going to be going into this somewhat blindly, maybe. Those are the ones who have the rudest of awakenings because the money's just not there. You do the best you can to get the best grades you can. We try to raise well-rounded students because the myth has been told to us that if you get great grades, if you're a great athlete, if you have all of these accolades, then the money will be there. The schools will be throwing money at you. This is not the case. The times have changed. These schools, you can have a 4.6 GPA, and first off, I don't know if you look around in that group, that can be pretty average these days. And I am not knocking anybody because my GPA in school was nowhere near that. And I hate to say it, I love my children, but their GPAs were nowhere near that. And they got full scholarships to school, not full from the institutions, because the institutions didn't give them money. They applied for over 100 scholarships each. So you do not have to be the brightest of the bright to get these scholarships. And I'm not saying they're not bright, but they were not the brightest of the bright. Neither one of them had anywhere near a 4.0 GPA. I am saying this to say that these days with all these AP classes and these weighted classes and these non-weighted, unweighted, weighted, you could easily see a student with almost a 6.0 GPA. These students are not getting the money. The money is not out there. It's not. Do not wait for the last minute to see. So to wrap up this story, I want to let you know, look through the Facebook group. Don't just look at it superficially. Go back, scroll back, right? There are a lot of scholarship information, scholarship resources in there. I encourage you guys to explore those. But if nothing else, prepare yourself. Use these couple of weeks over the summer. It goes by fast. You will be a senior. I'm talking to the rising seniors right now. You will be a senior in no time. Do not squander this time. Make sure you put some efforts towards shoring yourself up so that you can present yourselves to these scholarship sponsors in the best shape that you can. You got to give yourself a fighting chance because you got to get this money. This money is not going to grow on trees. It does not, and these schools are not going to give them to you. So as always, I tell you, if you are not a subscriber, please subscribe. Click the notification bell, and we'll see you in those Facebook streets. Thanks, and good luck to you.